Monsters soaring straight out of a nightmare.
There are a surprising number of accounts of these flying humanoids chasing cars at incredibly fast speeds.
After the accident and my brother was on his way to the hospital, I knew something horrible had tried to get us.
Imagine the terror of a Bigfoot with wings.
He saw his father being jerked to his feet and lifted into the air.
And I tell you, that was the spookiest thing I ever saw in my life.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Ambushed in the Pine Barrens by the Devil's Spawn.
I have never been so scared in my entire life. My heart was pounding. I couldn't breathe. It was pure, unadulterated fear.
Along the northern edge of Missouri's Ozark Mountains, the Turkey Creek watershed. Thick woods, meandering streams, and a reputation for harboring a mysterious winged demon.
Turkey Creek, it's a place that's way out in the country. And when you're out there, it just kind of feels eerie because it's dark and nothing around.
The dense woods we have in the mountain region of the Ozark Mountains, it's really a good place for mysterious activity and paranormal activity and stuff like that. I don't care what you're looking for, you probably find it in Missouri.
And every once in a while, in the Ozarks, an unknown flying fiend launches a shocking attack from the skies.
One element of the phenomenon that's very striking is the vulnerability that people feel because they're basically coming from high up in the air.
So, how are you and George?
We're really good.
People really don't look up in the sky much anymore. We've become focused on the here and now, what's in front of us.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
The noise.
And then they swoop down from the sky out of nowhere in a moment.
Since the beginning of time, people have claimed to catch sight of flying monsters. Ones that go well beyond the size and behavior of ordinary birds.
I think the idea of winged, especially winged humanoids, patrolling the skies, able to swoop down at any moment, really, it touches us in a primitive place because you can't really protect yourself from death from above.
Don Overton grew up in Nevada, Missouri, a small town close to Turkey Creek.
Missouri is very quiet, and you'd have to go out and search for things to do.
Boredom was never an issue for Don and his brother Dan. They were always looking for some kind of adventure. One July night in 1998, a plan was hatching for a trip into the dark woods of Turkey Creek.
Yep, the Cosgrove Farm, pretty scary place. Oh, and then there's Turkey Creek. Remember that place? Old Indian burial ground. They say there's something out there protecting the dead.
The reason why I wanted to go to Turkey Creek was there was a Indian burial ground close by that there was some reported mysterious activity happening there.
I don't want to go out there. People say there's some scary stuff out there.
Come on, let's take a ride. All right, there you go. That's the spirit.
They were right to be wary. They'd barely make it out alive.
So we decided to get in a vehicle and take off and go check it out.
It's plenty creepy out here, huh?
Yeah, it is.
There's something out here, man. I can feel it.
Nope, I cannot feel it.
My brother was a skeptic. He really didn't think too much about any mysterious happenings around.
There's nothing out here. I can't believe we're really out here looking for goo.
Shut up, man. Shut up. There's something out here.
Hey, there's nothing out here, brother.
And that's when the vehicle lifted off the ground.
What the?
Some force started shaking our vehicle violently, and we were getting rocked around. It was something that had a great deal of power, a great deal of strength. It just felt like it was all around us.
When their car fell back on the road,
Go, man. Go.
they had a chance to escape.
It was a very scary feeling not to be able to see this thing because you could feel it, coming behind you. The fear level was intensifying that it was going to catch us.
Where's that thing?
They were driving on a treacherous, high-banked road.
It's behind us, man. There it is. Watch out!
They'd been looking for a bit of adventure. This monster had served one up.
I don't know how many times it rolled, but we were upside down when the vehicle came to rest. It felt like I was frozen in time for a moment.
Danny, talk to me, man.
Don had been wearing his seatbelt and escaped serious injury.
I gotta get it.
His brother Danny wasn't so lucky.
My brother was very injured, very bad shape. He broke his neck and he wasn't responding.
Danny, I'm gonna go get help, all right?
Even though I was fearful of what was outside of the vehicle that could be out there, whatever was out there that caused this, I was more fearful for my brother might die. So I climbed out the window and overcame that fear and went for help. It was a very rural area, so I had to run a very long way. Finally, I reached a house that would help me. I've never been so scared in my life.
What kind of creature could deliver such a devastating airborne assault?
The flying monster from Missouri tends to fit the mold of the so-called flying humanoids. There are a surprising number of accounts of these flying humanoids chasing cars at incredibly fast speeds, and also many accounts of them actually swooping down at people's windshields.
A superhuman equipped with wings. And this flying fiend seems built for battle.
There's a malevolent nature to these creatures, and they seem to be very aggressive against us.
Over the last 50 years, across the continental US, flying humanoids have been reported dozens of times.
Accounts of flying humanoids actually date back centuries to 900 BC. There are ancient mythologies and folklores all over the world that speak of these flying humanoid or winged humanoid types of beings.
Don and Danny Overton narrowly escaped death at the hands of a flying monster.
After the accident and my brother was on his way to the hospital, in the back of my mind I knew what had happened. I knew something horrible had tried to get us.
Despite the close call, Don still hoped to find answers about the attack. He'd get them 12 years later on a return trip to Turkey Creek.
We had no idea that we were going to experience what we did.
All of a sudden, in the woods behind me, the noise gets more and more intense. It's coming from the back of the woods, running directly towards us. And we're looking into darkness, and it's coming.
Dad, what's that? Run! Run! Run!
In a remote corner of the Missouri Ozarks, rumors persist about a bizarre aerial creature, a flying humanoid, lurking within the treetops, ready to pounce.
We're basically talking about things that are much, much larger than anything that's recognized by science. The characteristics of a flying humanoid are generally a humanoid form. People have described glowing red eyes, and of course the great wingspans that are reported.
When you consider that stories of an avian humanoid go back thousands of years, the Mayans talked about the camasots, huge bat creatures that plagued southern Mexico. When you think of all the stories of shape-shifting creatures, winged human beings, you have to ask yourself, how far back does this go? Are we talking about a supposedly extinct creature that survived into the modern age?
It's the kind of question brothers Don and Danny Overton decided to investigate after hearing rumors of flying monsters at Turkey Creek, Missouri. They had an encounter that nearly ended in death. Whatever attacked them had strength far beyond any earthly creature.
This experience of the creature at Turkey Creek was the most terrifying experience I've ever had.
It was very traumatic. For a long time, he couldn't even talk about Turkey Creek. It was somewhere that he would not want to go back to. He avoided conversation about it.
12 years after the accident, Don mustered the courage to return to Turkey Creek. His close friend Brian Lyle encouraged Don to search for the truth about that tragic night.
Don had told me about the accident that occurred, and it was so intriguing because it included a lot of supernatural activity. I tried talking him into going back there for the longest time, and finally he gave in.
I was afraid to take them back for the fear something might happen to them. I think it could be a creature that could harm you at any moment, at any time.
In the summer of 2010, Don, Brian, and Brian's teenage son, Derek, made the trek into Turkey Creek, a remote Ozark territory underlain with sinkholes, springs, and caves.
Imagine going down a country road, barely enough room for one car. You feel confined and closed in, and you look around, you feel this sense of being trapped, like there's nowhere to run. When we first pulled up to Turkey Creek, there was a deep, deep cave-like hole. It went 6 foot deep, but it was probably 8 foot in diameter, maybe 10 foot.
The cave appeared to be freshly dug.
I had a flashlight and went over there, was looking for footprints, or claw marks, or handprints from people. I didn't see nothing. So you know something big had to do it. And I don't know if it was a home or if it was a trap. I've never seen anything like it.
Finding nothing, Derek headed back to the truck.
That's when we heard something coming towards us, something coming through the woods, something large.
We heard this growl, scream type thing, and none of us could identify it.
It hit the truck and then went through the woods beside the road.
The men tried to fathom what had streaked by. And then, a clue.
I looked down and I seen this drag mark, almost like if you were to take a cane and just stick it in the sand and pull it across the sand.
It's been made.
Whatever rocked the vehicle had left a baffling mark. A forceful scrape cutting into the dirt.
This drag mart was over our tire track, so this occurred after I parked. So it kind of got us a little wondering, what the heck are we dealing with?
Don had come armed with a video camera. He wanted evidence. Conditions weren't cooperating.
It was very difficult to film with a camera because of the dense wooded area and the complete darkness that we were in.
It may have been difficult to see, but from the menacing sounds all around them, they wondered if they had attracted the attention of a monster.
All of a sudden, you hear it crashing, like big limbs being broke, like somebody's intensely breaking these 6-7 inch limbs. And thuds into the ground, like somebody had jumped from a 20-foot tree. It was that loud of a thud.
I've never heard anything quite that big that could move that fast.
And it just keeps getting more intense and tense, and I'm following the sound with my flashlight. I'm almost in shock at first. There it is.
Once again, confronted with the flying humanoid of Turkey Creek.
It was another terrifying experience that I didn't want to relive again, and I wanted to get out of there.
This thing was here for one reason. It was here to hurt.
Flying humanoid. A monstrous mashup of human and avian anatomy. That's what was waiting for 3 Missouri men who went into the woods at Turkey Creek. After treading upon a mysterious cave, the trees around them came alive.
We heard a whooshing sound, like a bird flapping its wings, but really loud. And we're all waiting. And then I'll never forget the noise. It was just so unbelievable, so loud, so piercing.
They were face to face with an ungodly winged beast.
It was probably 7 feet tall. No hair, the way it looked. It wasn't meant for a peaceful confrontation, I can tell you that.
I don't know where it went. It just disappeared and took off.
Caught up in the moment, they pursued the creature until they realized they were in over their heads.
Dad, what's that? Run, run, run!
It sounded like it was coming like a freight train at you. You just heard a whoosh and it was gone.
I was afraid for my son. That's all that mattered, making sure he goes home that night.
As quickly as it had come, the flying humanoid disappeared.
When I seen this, I knew the answer. Don knew the answer. We knew what happened 12 years ago.
This time, the group escaped without injury.
I think this entity wanted to harm us because of the fact that we were in its territory. I think it's still there today. Sometimes you find things that you look for, and sometimes you regret the things you find.
Along the eastern seaboard, in southern New Jersey, there's an extensive patch of wilderness, the Pine Barrens.
When you're back in the Pine Barrens, the feeling that you get is aloneness. You're alone. You're in the middle of these massive woods. Your senses, I think, are heightened. Your hearing, your vision, everything.
It is amazingly quiet. You can hear absolutely nothing in some parts of the Pine Barrens. It's almost to the point where you can hear your blood run through your veins.
Over the years, the Pine Barrens has played host to many New Jersey legends.
Pirates have hidden treasure there. Runaway slaves have hidden in the Pine Barrens. And even the mafia has disposed of bodies in the Pine Barrens. And so it's always been a mysterious place.
None of its mysteries compare to the tale of the Pine Barrens' infamous flying beast. By most accounts, the story began a long time ago, when America was just 13 colonies, and settlers labored to make their way in a strange new world.
It happened in 1735. And a woman, whom everyone called Mother Leeds, was about to give birth. Of course, midwives were called in. Now, it was reported that Mother Leeds already had 12 children, and she did not want this 13th child.
May it be with the devil!
With that curse, evil stepped forth to rock the cradle.
The folks that live in the barrens, they have a story they tell. They say the old Leeds woman, she bore a child from hell.
Musician and reporter Paul Evans Pedersen grew up in South Jersey, alongside the Pine Barrens and its legends.
If you lived here, if you were born here, you heard about the Jersey Devil, probably the first story you ever heard. And finally, after all these years of hearing it, there it was in my yard. And my house is 100 yards from the western part of the Wharton Track, which is the Pine Barrens.
Paul's encounter with the monster took place some 50 years ago. The night he was left in charge of watching his little sister.
Hey, I'll be back in a few minutes. You guys be good. Listen to your brother. Okay? Bye.
Bye, Mom.
My mother had left me and my sister so she could go pick my dad up at work. Just a couple minutes after she left, I heard something in the basement. Some kind of commotion going on, stuff being knocked over.
I hear something in the basement. I'm gonna go check it out.
I walked over to the cellar door and heard something coming up the steps in a really strange way. Not like a man would walk up the steps. Something like hopping up the steps, making a god-awful noise. Almost like wings flapping or some kind of commotion. I had the presence of mind, thank God, to lock the door. It was getting closer and closer, and I was scared to death.
Southern New Jersey's Pine Barrens. It's named for the unusual pine forest that grows miraculously on a barren plain of sandy, acidic soil. Coupled with this curiosity is the hideous monster that supposedly haunts these woods, the Jersey Devil. Over the past 300 years, witnesses, too numerous to count, swear they've seen the mythical creature.
In colonial days, if a well went dry or hens didn't lay eggs or milk went sour, they always blamed it on the Jersey Devil. Even larger things were blamed, like failure of crops.
The biggest outbreak of the Jersey Devil sightings was in 1909, when like almost everybody in South Jersey saw it.
There were many front-page newspaper articles written about this. Posses were sent out. Children were kept indoors. Schools were closed. Factories were closed because of this one notorious week.
From cops to mayors, I mean, legitimate people saw this thing flying, and it's all described the same way.
It has the bony head of a horse,
the wings of a bat,
bright red, piercing, evil eyes.
It's a mixture, a mishmash of different animal characteristics, very unexpected. There's really nothing in the natural world that contains all of these different characteristics.
It's hard to imagine such a jumble of monster anatomy, let alone discover it in your basement. That was Paul Pedersen's situation back in 1963.
I heard something in the basement. It was getting closer and closer. And it just started screeching, this incredible sound. And I grabbed my sister and ran out onto the front lawn.
The Pedersen kids were forced outside, waiting in the cold for their parents' return.
It's okay.
What's going on here? Why aren't you guys in bed?
Dad, there's something in the basement.
When my mother and father got home, I told them what had happened. You know, my father was kind of like disbelieving it. You know, there's nothing down that cellar.
His father was in for a shock.
All the Christmas balls were broken, all the tinsel's all over the place, all the tools are scattered all over the basement. Something was down there. All the windows in the basement were nailed shut. The only way in or out of that basement, other than the cellar steps from the kitchen, was the coal chute.
To escape, it would have had to fly.
Is everything all right down there, honey?
It shook my father up pretty good. After that night, they tore the coal bin and the coal chute out of the cellar and dismantled it and threw it away. After it happened, even our neighbors said, "You had a visit from the Jersey Devil."
He might have just dismissed the whole thing as an odd curiosity. Only years later, Paul finally laid eyes on the monster. Once again, it happened right in his own home.
A couple years ago, I was watching TV one night, turned the TV off and was going upstairs to bed, and at the top of my steps is a window. And I noticed a movement out the window, and I looked down, and I saw this thing the size of a small elephant. It hopped, and it had the head of a horse. And I looked back, and it was gone that fast. I'm sure I saw the Jersey Devil. It is real.
And Paul Pedersen has lots of company. Recently, Denise Dubois had her own frightening encounter with the Pine Barrens' notorious beast.
I've been to the Pine Barrens a million times, but this night was completely different. It was late 2008, and my then boyfriend purchased a new handgun, and we wanted to go shoot it, and I knew the perfect place.
After a 40-minute drive, they were in the thick of the Pine Barrens.
No, I bet I can hit it on the first shot.
So we get back there, and we set up the target, and we're maybe about 10 feet from the car.
Show me what you got.
And the next thing you know, I hear this blood-curdling squawk. It sounded like an eagle, but intensified by 50. I've never heard anything like this in my life. Never. And you can actually hear the wings flap. Oh my God, this thing, it's got to be huge.
Come on, we gotta get in the car, we gotta get in the car!
And it's coming for us. We felt like prey. It hit the top of my car. Boom! There was a huge dent on my car. I feel the Jersey Devil was upset because we were shooting the gun. We were imposing on his territory.
There's definitely something out there. Too many people report the same exact looking creature for it not to be real.
I'll never forget that scream. I have never been so scared in my entire life, never.
In Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. A vast, fertile floodplain running along the northern bank of the Rio Grande River. This remote, largely unclaimed land is well known for attracting a huge variety of migrating birds. And within this same valley, there is a legend about a winged creature of monstrous proportions. A bizarre and terrifying amalgamation of bat and Bigfoot. Rumors about the flying creature came to life in the 1970s, with an outbreak of sightings in communities in the Rio Grande Valley.
The buzz all started in the first couple months of 1976. Things came to a head when a man in Raymondville, out in his front yard, was attacked by a creature that he claimed had simian and bat-like features and leathery wings.
As the story goes, on January 14th, 1976, Armando Grimaldo stepped outside to enjoy the quiet evening. He heard a papery flapping noise above him and felt a strange draft. By the time he looked up, it was too late. Grabbed by the monster, Grimaldo finally managed to break free. He reported the attack to the police.
And his story was corroborated by his neighbors because the back of his jacket and his shirt had been shredded by what appeared to be talons. After that attack, the story went wild. All of the newspapers were reporting it. Other reports began to pour in. People were making their children stay indoors. They were afraid that the creature might attack them. There was a general panic throughout the entire Rio Grande Valley at that point.
The media immediately seized upon the name of Big Bird for this creature. But I will tell you what, this creature was not fuzzy, it was not yellow, it didn't have a funny looking beak. It was hideous.
A month after the sightings began, brothers John and David Dott witnessed a flying monster attack firsthand.
This will be the first time that I have told the story about my encounter with this flying creature. It's time for there to be an accounting for these things.
Appeared to be probably 8 to 10 feet tall.
Holy crap.
And all I saw was big glowing red eyes. This wasn't anything like I'd ever seen.
And it took 3 or 4 steps towards the car.
Back up, get us out of here!
I was bracing for impact. I thought this was it.
Get us out of here! Get us out of here! Damn it!
January 1976, the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. Like wildfire in a wheat field, fear was spreading. A bizarre flying monster was raining down terror from above.
The idea of winged attackers is especially frightening in a place like the Rio Grande Valley. Such an open place with no caves or forests to hide in. The idea that you might be attacked at any moment, that those talons could reach down and yank you off the ground, was enough to make people want to stay inside and give up their daily routines.
In a few short weeks, more than 10 different witnesses in South Texas reported the winged creature. In February of 1976, it was about to make 2 more believers. Almost 4 decades after an incident on an outlying road north of Houston, brothers David and John Dott have come forward to share their experience.
It was February 1976. I was 23 and my brother was 21.
Hey, come on.
My brother David was driving It was a nice little car. We were on our way to work on the night shift at a local manufacturing company.
Bye, hon. Hey, come on, we're late.
Come on, man, we're always late.
We took the usual route that we always take. And we went about a mile or so down the road where it was just pastures on both sides of the road. We were listening, of course, to rock and roll music, as we always did.
Man, what is this junk you're always listening to? When are you gonna get some decent music in here?
All of a sudden, he said, "Look up ahead." There was something standing in the middle of the road.
Man, he ain't gonna move. You need to slow down.
It was right in front of us. There was nothing but that creature in the headlights. You could absolutely see it. And it had really intense red eyes.
The wings were more like bat wings, not feathers, but more like a bat look to it.
And it took 3 or 4 steps towards the car.
Back up, back up!
I just freaked.
And then it just flew right over the top of the car.
And as we looked up through the windshield, all I can remember is these huge red glowing eyes staring down at us as it flew over the car. It was a horrible, loud, flapping noise.
What was that? I don't know.
There it goes.
Well, what the hell is it?
And we looked at each other and said, "Nobody's gonna believe us."
John, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And all I was about is getting out of there. I drove about the limit the car would drive so I could get back to civilization.
The brothers were so convinced no one would believe them, they never discussed it again.
We actually never said a thing to each other, it seemed. I don't remember saying anything. We were both in shock.
It's been probably 38 years since this happened, and I'll promise I'd never tell anybody, but maybe it's time people heard this story.
I suspect that a lot of people who see creatures like this keep the story to themselves. I'm sure that a lot of people just keep their mouth shut for fear of what people might say.
It's understandable that they're very hesitant to talk about these things publicly because they've obviously seen something that is unexplainable, something you can't find in the science books.
Back in 1976, we were pretty young, full of piss and vinegar, as they say, and so when you see this huge creature flying at you...
John, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, that changed our attitude. We weren't so full of ourselves after this.
Hundreds of miles southwest from the Dot brothers' encounter, a flying monster's attack that same year in Hidalgo County would transform a young boy into a hero.
He saw his father gripped by the talons of an enormous avian humanoid that flapped its wings and tried to lift the man out of the deer stand. Manuel Perales struggled to get free. Danny knew he had to act.
In the 1970s, witnesses claim a bizarre flying frankenbeast, Bat Squatch, unleashed terrifying airstrikes from the skies of South Texas. David Bowles grew up in the Rio Grande Valley. He has collected monster stories throughout the region.
One of the most nail-biting encounters was the one that Manuel Perales and his 12-year-old son Danny had in the month of January of that year. It was an uncommonly cold January morning.
Hey, Daddy, help me out.
When father and son arrived in their ratty old pickup at a friend's ranch in northern Hidalgo County. It was early in the morning.
Let's go. Right, that's it.
When father and son pulled their rifles out, their cooler full of sandwiches, and climbed up into the deer stand and began the long wait. After a few hours, a deer did arrive. Just the sort that his father wanted to bag that day. Manuel nudged his son, indicating that he should go ahead and take the shot. But as Danny sighted and looked into the eyes of the deer, he realized he couldn't do it. He turned to his father and simply shook his head. His father was clearly upset and took aim to take the shot himself. However, his rifle jammed, and at that very moment, the deer bolted. His father turned to Danny and asked him, "Why couldn't you take the shot?" Danny, before he could reply, was startled to see his father suddenly pulled to his feet. He saw his father gripped by the talons of an enormous avian humanoid that flapped its wings and tried to lift the man out of the deer stand. Danny, without thinking, stood, lifted his rifle to his shoulder, aimed for the beast's eye, took the shot. It howled in pain, released his father, fell with a thud, and then it wheeled away through the sky, screeching in pain. Manuel Perales realized that he was lucky to make it out alive. He suffered only cracked ribs, which healed with time. Manuel never forgot the actions of his son, the way the boy had saved his life.
After 2 frightening months in South Texas, the flying fiend abruptly disappeared. Though for anyone that crossed its path, the memory of the encounter burns bright.
That 15 or 20 seconds that we saw that creature is ingrained forever in my memories. Today, if I close my eyes, I can see that thing. I do remember those eyes, and that will take me to my grave, those glowing red eyes.